let's touch on the Van Dijk thing. We mentioned it just in terms of the level he's at, of course, because it is another level. But I do think it's worth spending a bit of time, particularly with you, obviously, with your coaching background and indeed your playing background, about that, well-trodden phrase now that people always say, he just makes whoever's alongside him better. And it's a great thing to say. It's also true, though, isn't it? Because he just does. And that's not to say he's had poor players, but, at times he might have had Nat Phillips. Love Nat Phillips. Reece Williams is saying. Reece Williams loved Virgil van Dijk for what it's worth. I spoke to him this season. But he does make them better. And that's obviously through probably talking through the game. It's through just his sheer presence, his leadership. Probably wanting to impress him as well, probably part of it. But you will have played in countless centre-back partnerships down the years. But, yeah, that dynamic and that relationship, as you touched on there, it must be an absolute joy to play alongside someone like you would imagine. If you were centre-back looking over and you got Virgil there, it must make life so much easier.
Yeah, whatever's happening, you go, Virgil's there. And he can sort me out, yeah. He's just, as a centre-back, he has everything. He's quick, he's strong, can distribute. The only thing I'd say is not one to dribble off from the back, but you're probably very few does that. But his way of doing it is you just ping a 60-yard diagonal. It's even looking like he's breaking a sweat while he's doing it. So I think it just helps. He probably has that little bit of aura around him as well, because he just has that air of calmness. Just so you look at him, you go, all right. And one thing I've noticed, especially, I think he's always been vocal, but since he's become captain, you see him quite often on the pitch, and he doesn't hold back. He's does organise everyone around him. So I think just having him telling you what you need to do and telling what, almost holding your hand going, you need to tell him to do this. I think that's one thing I've noticed last few seasons, how much sort of influence he has when you see him losing his head at times, obviously, with the lads around him. But I think his vocal ability, I don't think that's the correct phrase, but whatever, is starting to. I've never really seen it until recently, and once you pick up on it, I'm like, he doesn't half get on the lads around him.
That was my biggest concern, when it comes to him getting the armband, because I've become so used to Henderson just shouting at everyone. Yeah. The Atlanta game, when it was obviously behind closed doors, you could hear literally someone clipped, I think Liverpool clipped up the 6 minutes of him just shouting at lads. Love it, Robbo, was basically all it is. What I mean? But what Van Dijk never felt like that to me. He was clearly the leader of the back line, leader of defence, because of his experience, his quality. But you don't need to be. You've got to be vocal, because you're quite as vocal, because you're only shouting to the lads around you. Yeah. And a lot of that is probably done sort of positionally, because you follow his lead almost, when it comes to the offside line, all that sort of stuff. And when set pieces, he's having conversations with you, that's fine. And a lot of that might be done pre-match as well. But I think you're right. I think he's really come out of his shell as that leader. And because I felt like at times he might be getting a leader by example, and not necessarily a leader by his words and a leader by shouting at people. But yeah, I think he's got both. I think he's got it absolutely nailed down now. And let's be honest, he's just the best in the world. Let's touch on the fullbacks and what we've signed. Basically, I think is probably what to do next, because I'm really intrigued by it, actually, because I wondered whether, obviously, losing Trent is massive, because he is a generationally gifted footballer. Whatever you think of the way he left, whatever you think of him as a person right now, he's a fantastic footballer. And he, in terms of progressive passing, will lose a lot from him, I think. We'll have different ways of doing it now, I think it's fair to say, and that'll be interesting in itself. But I wondered, we needed a left-back upgrade and we needed a right-back. And I was really intrigued by what those signings looked like. Were they more defensive, keeping in line with what we spoke about before? Does he want just a full, functional, conventional fullback on both sides? Because Conor Bradley's that. I think Conor Bradley in attack is very sound, in defence is very sound. Does he want the same on the left? But instead, Matty, he's gone to all-out attack Jeremy Frimpong, who's basically played as a winger his entire life. And he's gone to, in my opinion, one of the more attack-minded, energetic, full of life fullbacks as a left-back. So that, to me, suggests that he wants more. He wants more energy. He wants more output. He wants more attack from his fullbacks. Do you think the same?
Yeah, I'm not surprised, because I am surprised. Yeah, I'm lying. Especially with the Frimpong one. He is unless he's thinking versatility, because obviously Mo goes to AFCON, doesn't he? So you may see him pop up on the wing, and you've got Conor Bradley behind him. But in terms of the two of them, obviously I think Frimpong's more attacking than Kirkes is still very dynamic, get up and down the line. I think he's got a slight bit more balance to him. But one thing you can probably say about them is they can get up and down the pitch all day long and they've got that pace to get back in. So maybe he's thinking it's just because they've got both elements and because they're both quite intense in the work. Well, he can do both. But as you say, I'm not entirely sure. Like I can see the Kirkes one more than the Frimpong one in terms of like the style of player, because we've touched on before, he's very similar to Robertson, but Frimpong is really intriguing.
He is such a, and I hate the expression in football parlance, but he is that unicorn of a footballer because he is so attacking as a right back. Like he's basically not a right back, like I say. But I'm arguably more shocked with Kirkes because I think fundamentally we've got Conor Bradley is my comfort zone over here. Yeah. Because we own Conor Bradley, it's almost irrelevant what we do with Jeremy Frimpong, in a way. If he plays as a right back, great. But also, you mentioned the versatility of him. He will supplement Mo Salah at times. He's just a great footballer to have. Yeah. Basically. Certainly, it's like 30 million quid, whatever he was. You know what I mean? It's a bargain. Yeah, bargain. Because he's worth double that day one. The Kirkes one, and I like Milos Kirkes a lot, and the younger Robertson comparison's absolutely right. But I just felt like, because we'd seen so little of whether it be Tsimikas or Robertson in an attacking sense, I felt like he was going, and when he does sign for Frimpong, which basically means he's gone. I just felt like he was going to sign this hybrid left-sided centre-back, you know what I mean? And instead he's gone, no, fuck it, I'm going to buy the most attacking full-back around, basically. And that's why I'm so intrigued by it. Because essentially, if those two do just go, you are leaving those two, your centre-halves. Like, again, as a centre-half, as a coach, like, is that terrifying for those two? You know what I mean?
It is for me, yeah.
When you look around and your full-backs have gone.
Yeah.
Because whilst they do have that recovery pace that you mentioned, I'm certain there will be time whereby they just disappear. How do you think Liverpool or Arne Slot will want to fix that? Will it be on Gravenberch, like we touched upon earlier, to drop in and sort of stay, do you think? Or how do we do that?
I mean, as you said, I thought we'd go for a hybrid left back session, just from the way we were playing last season as well, so I am surprised about that. I mean, the only other way I can see it happening is, but then you're almost losing a little bit of control, is if you've got the back two then and Gravenberch is sort of sitting in between them so they can go a little bit wider and you drop someone else down. But then I think it's a little bit too deep almost, but I'd say maybe you could almost box it with a double pivot in front. Okay. Because then
that'd be McAllister in this instance, I imagine. Yeah.
Probably, yeah. And then so Verge comes out here. You might have to be. I imagine it'd be Gravenberch slotting in more than McAllister into the back line. But then I could imagine maybe, and he just slides across like that and almost becomes sort of a sliding back three, get everyone else back into the team then. But that's the only way I could imagine it potentially. Because it surprised me, to be fair, because I mean, you're putting a lot of pressure on the centre-backs. Not saying they can't do it, because they've done it for years, haven't they? But it is scary when you're seeing you've got a striker in front of you, you're going, there's someone here, and he's got time and space to get his head up. You're going, best get on my bike here.
And my left back and my right back have gone, basically. I get Frimpong again is probably the most likely to be gone.
Yeah,
I think Kirkes will definitely have one eye on what's going on behind him more often than not. But again, I think there'll be instances whereby they have. One thing I will say in terms of that, I think the double pivot turn into a box and that sort of shield and ability to help out is great, and I get it absolutely. And I do think we'll benefit and profit from having Frimpong, Kirkes, and probably Florian Wirtz in attacking areas. Absolutely. My only issue there is, I love Van Gravenberch. I think he's a wonderful footballer. I think he can have an influence in the final third. Likewise, Lexi McAllister. Yeah. And all of a sudden,
you take him away.
You're essentially stopping that from being a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, it might be miles off it.
But that feels like a solution to me.
It's I don't know. It is hard because you've got. I mean, Frimpong's quite good going forward as well, and obviously if he's on the overlap or the underlap, it gives space to Mo. Obviously, if you got Kirkes doing the same, it is. It's what you want. I mean, as I said before, Slot likes to tweak, so maybe one game it will be you're sitting and some of the midfielders are bombing on. The next game it might be, well, you two are sitting and you two, so you might just see a little bit of to and throwing between the two, to be fair.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I suppose even in game, and I guess it will sort of depend, and this is again where it comes back to, your opposition analysis and how they like to defend. Do they defend wide? Or do they defend narrow? And at what point are we best overloading? Are we best off McAllister and Gravenberch getting involved? Or is it down the wide after? Yeah, it's a fair point. On that then, because we've sort of... is there any other solution, just before we wrap up on this, in terms of like if the fullbacks are going to be ultra attacking? Is it just a case of the midfield have got to get back and help out? Because to the point, you just can't leave those two on an island surrounded by attackers.
No, I mean, it's one of them, because when you see us play as well, obviously, more often than not, we'll have them pinned back. So you might actually be up, every now and then you might see them too, because they've got 10, 11 men behind the ball. So you might at times see them stood on the halfway line, just them two, because we've got them firmly within their half. So there is a possibility you'll see it, because it might be just keeping the ball around the box, and you go, well, we've actually, by setting up a proper shape, midfielders obviously backing up for the second balls and stuff, before they get the counter, we can kill it before it starts, type of thing. So it would be interesting, but I do think there might be times where we are that comfortable on the ball. You see the whole team almost on the half, and no one's behind the halfway line.
Interesting. Yeah, we just have to be absolutely ultra sharp in transition. Don't we? That's all. Like absolutely, and that's what it has to be drilled into the fullbacks in particular, and probably Gravenberch and another alongside him, Curtis Jones, McAllister, whoever. That if we do lose the ball and we are in danger, you've got to be on your bike and getting back at that point. Like,
yeah, I mean, when you look at Van Dijk as well, he's so good at delaying instead of engaging straight away. He'll look behind him, know how much he's got to work with, and he'll just maybe hold off, and he's very patient in terms of engaging with the ball. So it might be a case of obviously talking to the centre-backs and going, your start higher, so your engagement lines lower, and it gives the lads around you to get back in.
Going to say buying time, almost, buying and praying that the lads can get back in time. So let's talk about, I want to quickly actually touch on, we'll spend some time speaking about that centre-back target in a moment, but before we do, the one thing, and somebody brought this up to me recently, it's escaped me who it was. Left side and right side is centre backs. Would you play a particular side?
I've done both, to be fair.
You're right footed, actually.
Right footed,
yeah. And you've done both?
Stand on my left.
Do you feel much more comfortable on the right to take it?
I don't mind doing either, because I like to sort of, if I can take a touch, sometimes the only issue is if you're right footed and you're playing as a left centre back, a lot of your plays coming in field.
Yeah.
So
back into danger a lot of the time.
Back into danger, yeah. I mean, you can do it, but you obviously need to work on your left foot. But it is a lot easier on the right, but it is possible to do it. You just got to have that diags quite often. You see with Van Dijk, quite the ball that you might use if you're under pressure, you go, just drop it in there. Obviously, he's going to people, man's going to stand somewhere.
That's the difference. No, but it's fascinating to me. I've never played at centre half, to be honest with you. But yeah, the force of Van Dijk's done it incredibly for so long. The force of being a right-footed, left-sided centre half fills me with this fear. This inherent, because as you say, you do want to cut inside, but the likelihood is you're cutting inside to an on-rushing 9 or the attacking, whatever it may be, the attacking midfielder. And on the flip side of that, the thought of shifting to me left and having to clear is equally as terrifying, you know what I mean? Because that's not going to be pretty, that, you know what I mean? So I think it's quite a new thing, really, this right-sided, left-sided, because obviously the Mark Gahey links continue. Mark Gahey is another right-footed, but he's probably equally comfortable on the left, maybe not quite equally, but still. Left-sided centre-half, which is Van Dijk's position. He's linked heavily. Do you think it's quite easy, because he basically always played left-sided for England as part of the three, or whether for Palace as just a part of the partnership? For him, looking at Liverpool right now and how to sort of break your way in, you're not going to get Van Dijk's shirt, that's done and dusted. Could he potentially be looking at the right-sided one and going, I can do that, no problem? It
is interesting because it's a World Cup year as well, so that's when I touched on before. Is he going to come and then sort of not play, because I can't see him doing that, because he's like, I've just got into the England team and I want to cement myself. So I think he can do both. I think if you can play on the left side as a centre-back, you can play on the right side. Okay. Obviously he's right-footed as well, but he is actually, wouldn't say he's two-footed, he's quite adept with his left foot, but unless it's Van Dijk's 33, I think he's going to play for at least another 2-3 years. Maybe it's we'll start bedding you into both positions so you can play right, and maybe when Van Dijk's moved on, you can drop into that left because you can do that. Mm-hmm. But I think if he's coming in, it's coming in to play alongside Van Dijk.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see with the Kanate situation, whether they go, well, you're not signing, so we'll just put him in instead. Yeah. It'll just be interesting to see what works.
For you, as a centre half, like how does that decision come about? Have you ever been in a situation where you both want to play on the same side? Or have you ever to sort of who makes that call? Because again, I don't remember this being a conversation 10, 15 years ago necessarily. It feels like now centre halves just have a side and that's kind of where they play.
I've never really, I sort of just I have recently, you get more of a preference because you play there more often. But I when I was a bit younger, I used to play left side centre back all the time. I actually preferred playing there. I only started playing on the right because I played with a left-footed centre back, and that's how I sort of. And then once I'd done it, I was like, nah, I preferred it here. So I think I don't think it makes a massive difference, but you can tell in the game where you go, well, I can just get out my foot and clip the channel, whereas on my left side I can use it, but it's a bit of a shovel. If I want to use it, just dig it out from under my feet.
Yeah, tell me about it. Yeah, me and you both. No, it's the angles, isn't it? And I guess it's body position as well. At certain points as well, you have to get used to that and stuff like that. It's interesting where people are attacking you from and how you use your
Van
body.
Dijk's so good because his body shape. With left-sided or right-footed left centre backs, often they will use the left. Van Dijk, he just lets it run, or he takes his touch is good just to go bang, bang, gone. He keeps a lot of his play simple as well. I think helps that sort of element to his game.
It just looks so unnatural to me if Van Dijk ever popped up on the right-hand side.
Yeah, it would feel weird, yeah.
But on that, just finally on the Gahey point then, if he was to come in, and it was said to him, you can play, but you're going to have to play on the right side, that wouldn't faze him at all, you don't think?
I couldn't imagine it. I mean, it would faze you more if you go the other way around, but just from personal experience, if you play from the left, on the left centre-back, play on the right, it's easier because you can go both ways a little bit more comfortable then as well. So you come in field and you still use your right foot, or you can get out your feet and play it down the line type of thing. So I shouldn't imagine it being an issue.
Okay, interesting. And just finally, on the whole book, I think last season we saw a lot of pre-season tweaks, and we saw a lot of in-season tweaks actually as well, in terms of he used 2 10s at times in certain games, and lots of different variants on a theme, I think it's fair to say, on a slot. The one thing I don't recall seeing is 3 at the back, necessarily. I just wonder, and again, this comes from the profile and the style of fullback that we've signed. One of them, a wing-back, basically, for Bayer Leverkusen, exclusively almost. Kerkez, I think, has the attributes to play as that wing-back. We're talking about signing maybe Mark Gahey, left-sided centre-back, played left side of a 3 for England. I think Van Dijk could be the central one, the sweeper, if you like, in old terms. And Canate, right side, also seems to make a lot of sense. Any legs in that?
I think it would be very interesting if we did it, but I think if we were going to do it, I think it would be more when you see Slot do his little tweaks every now and then. I think you could potentially see it pop up in a game if he goes, this isn't working, and he comes out half time, 3 at the back, and all of a sudden you go, everyone else can almost bomb on then, because you got Gay's played in the 3 at the back, hasn't he? So he's used to going out into those wide zones, because obviously as a centre back, when you're getting dragged wide, you're going, don't like this. But obviously Van Dijk's used to it, Kanate's used to it, Gay's obviously used to it. So I think 1v1 they're all very comfortable and they don't mind going out into those wide positions. So don't think it'll be used as a starting formation because you've got so many good forward players, midfield players. But I do think it could potentially be used, to be fair. And I think it would, if you get him. I mean, I might be wrong, you might sign him, go 3 at the back straight away. But I think it is a possibility. I think you've seen that. That's one thing I'd say from all the signings. All of them are giving you that option to do such a vast amount of different positions and formations and everything.
I think that's something he's desperate to get, actually, that versatility and that adaptability and the ability to, as you say, sort of break glass is too extreme a suggestion, but have different strings to your bow in terms of formations. And just finally on that then, we saw Jurgen Klopp do it, I should say, for Liverpool when he just threw Joel Matip on to see out a game at the end and just put more tall lads on to head balls away, basically. I don't think it will be that ever. I think it'd be more like you're saying, not starting games, but maybe it's not working, or I've identified this, let's do this, and this will work, and more often than not it did. I assume, again, from your experiences, playing-wise, you'd want to have trialled that on the pitch in terms of training, definitely. But ideally, I assume in matches as well, like this pre-season period now, the next 4, 5, 6 weeks, whatever it may be. Liverpool, if they're thinking of using it during the season, could probably do with doing it at some point now.
Yeah, because you need to know all the patterns of play and stuff you're going to run. Because obviously, it's like it is completely different. I played in the back three, hated it to begin with, loved it at the end. You just, I'm on. You get to just go flying centre back like Chris Wilder.
Yeah, I got you for that. Yeah, the over end of Stevens.
I mean, you might see that.
You never know. Yeah.
But no, I think that's why I think pre-season is so important, because you get to, that's the especially Liverpool's the only time in a season really. Obviously, you might get the odd full week off, very rare, where you have a block to go. This is my plans for the season. This is also where I see we can adapt, and this is where we can make little changes that might get us those little extra points and percents during the season, which might get us over the line. So I think, because the jobs of everyone becomes different, because then you've got to go what the forward's going to do, and then the midfielders especially, what are you going to do in there? And then sort of the patterns of play between the centre-backs and the full-backs. So I think they're going to do it. I wouldn't be surprised if they have worked on it during pre-season, but he might just hold it as a little card to keep close to his chest, and you just see it at Anfield at 3 o'clock one day.
Could you imagine? You heard it here first. Liverpool playing 3 at the back. Yeah, listen, it just seems far-fetched to me, but also I don't think anything's out of the realms of possibility now when it comes to Slot, and he's made such interesting and intriguing little tweaks. I became so accustomed to just seeing Liverpool 4-3-3, bombing on, all that attack, let's see what happens. Whoever scores most wins, essentially, which is kind of football in a nutshell, but you know what I mean? But now under Slot, it feels like, okay, yeah, what I thought was never going to happen suddenly feels imminently possible, including winning a lot. Sad, wonderful. Top man. Thanks again, as always. Everybody else, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Take care. See you soon.